Hello everyone and welcome to La Cuisine de Chlorophylle. This is part of our Q&A series on how to replace eggs. You've asked how to replace the egg white in recipes. And the answer, it depends on what you're doing with the egg white. So I'm going to show you three ways. One, when you use egg whites, when you whip them, like in meringues, macaron or mousse. I'm going to show you when it's used for binding. You use the egg white to bind like burgers and different things together. And the third one is going to be for leavening, when you want like fluffy cakes. Let's start with the whipping, when you want to do mousse and macarons and whipped cream. I'm going to use aquafaba. Aquafaba is the water that you will find in chickpea or garbanzo bean canned. You use 3 tablespoons of aquafaba, and that's equivalent of 1 egg white. The cool thing about that liquid is it contains a lot of proteins and starches, exactly like the egg white, and thus has the same ability of foaming. So I have a garbanzo bean can, which I'm going to open. I have a container with my coriander. Keep the chickpea to do something good, hummus, put them in a curry, anywhere you want. So I have 3/4 cup of aquafaba. I'm going to put that in my mixing bowl. And I'm going to just start beating it, and you will see it's going to foam. And then after I beat it for like 2-3 minutes, I'm going to add some cream of tartar. This is something slightly acidic. Some people use lemon juice. It keeps the soft peak that are going to form longer. If you want to come and see what's going to happen. You see, it's starting to be really nice and fluffy. So now I'm going to put some of the cream of tartar. You want 1/4 teaspoon for 1/2 cup of aquafaba. So I'm going to do 1 and then kind of half. Now I'm going to go and beat for a bit longer, 8 minutes or so. Okay, this has been 8 minutes. Look how fluffy it is. Actually, a test to see if they are well done is actually you turn, and it should not, it should not fall. The other thing I wanted to say about making those soft peaks is you cannot overdo it. So you cannot beat too much like with real egg white, where eventually they will deflate. So that's a plus of aquafaba. The second way where egg whites are used is for binding, and there you want to use flaxseed or chia seeds. I have flaxseed meal, which means ground, and the recipe for 1 egg here is 1 tablespoon of flaxseed or chia seed and 3 tablespoons of water. You mix, and you're going to let that sit for 5 to 10 minutes. Look how it gelled together, right? So this is going to bind your ingredients together. So you would use that for, if you do a veggie burger, like a bean burger, and you want all the ingredients to stick together, use that. If you do breading, sometimes you put egg white around to get the breadcrumbs to stick. You could use that. That's a great binding. I actually use it also for cookies, things like that. So the third use of egg white in cooking, in baking, is for leavening, when you want to make something fluffy. So the best is going to use baking powder, water, and oil. And together they are going to make the egg white, the foamy part of the egg white. The cool thing about baking powder, it reacts twice in your recipe. It is going to react when I'm going to mix it with the wet ingredients, and then it's going to react another time in the oven when it's heated. So here I'm going to make an egg and then put it in a cake. So I started to mix the dry ingredient. It's flour and sugar and baking powder. And here I have the wet ingredients where I have milk, oil, and some vanilla extract. But let's make the egg first. So it's 2 teaspoons of baking powder with 2 tablespoons of water and 1 tablespoon of oil, and I'm using a neutral oil. And you can see it started to fizz. So I'm having some reaction already. First reaction, making little bubbles for aeration. I'm going to mix that with my liquid ingredients. So here is the egg. Mixing that. You can still see the reaction happening. And now I'm going to fold all this into my dry ingredients. Okay, and now I should have told you from the beginning, I'm making a chiffon cake, which are those super fluffy cakes, so that's why I'm using that kind of pan. So everything goes in there. And now that's going into my oven, and I will show you the result afterwards. Okay, so here is my cake. I tried to remove it from the pan and it failed. It got stuck, and that's my pan. So that's not the best to demonstrate. Although the goal was to show you how fluffy it is. So I cut a piece. Look at that. It is actually really fluffy. So that's the role of the egg white. Now I'm not going to share that recipe with you because obviously the binding, or I don't know if it's the binding or just, I should have oiled a little bit more my pan. Anyway, we got a very fluffy cake.